What do you got on today, son? What do you think I have on, man? I've got a Seiko tuna on. We're having a heat wave. I just got back from Utah. I'd never been to Utah. Took my family and we climbed up Zion National Park and we saw the, I think it's called the Weeping Rock, and we had good food. I think it was Eddie's Cafe nearby. No one got hurt. Went to Vegas in a crowded hotel called the Luxor or something, 120 degrees. Swam in the pool, no one got hurt, that's good. Went to the Mirage and saw some tigers and dolphins, no one got hurt. So here I am. I want to talk about a documentary I got a chance to see. I rarely get the chance to see movies. What happened? My wife went out with her friends. I put my daughters to sleep, my twin 6-year-olds. And on Netflix there was a movie called I'm Not Your Guru by the very talented Tony Robbins. I've never met this guy, don't know him, never read his books, don't know a lot about him. Obviously, I know he is a very successful celebrity, very successful motivational speaker. So Joe Berlinger, who made this film, he's a director, and he's a very famous director, and he's very famous for making exposés and critical investigations. And he got called out by the press for being very much of a Kool-Aid drinker with Tony Robbins, because what happened was, I think it was around 2012, Berlinger had a conversion experience at one of Tony Robbins' seminars. So he drank the Kool-Aid and he made this documentary with no critical questions about Tony Robbins, no counter-arguments, no skeptical investigations into Tony Robbins. So I watched the film with somewhat low expectations, because you really don't want to see a propaganda piece by a Kool-Aid drinker. But I have to say, I really enjoyed the film, and it did have weaknesses. It should have had some counter-arguments and some skeptical questions. But in spite of those weaknesses, highly recommend the documentary. You got to realize, I'm not really into motivational speaking. Maybe I should be. And I don't know that much about Tony Robbins, but I came into this movie and I was absolutely fascinated by it. There were some major points. Number one, one of the things that struck me is that the rituals in this giant hall, which you have is 6 days of 12 hours a day, 2,500 people crammed in this hall somewhere near Palm Beach, Florida, and they spend $5,000. And Tony Robbins, I mean, he's 2 years older than I am, and he's 6'7". I mean, he's barrel-chested, and he gives them a performance that really, I was in awe of it. And I couldn't help but be struck by the parallels between the rituals of mind control in this hall with, honestly, a Christian megachurch. You had the hands going like this, and you had the songs and the hymnals type sounding music, but it was all secular, you know. Tony Robbins uses taboo language, as he likes to say. And I was really captured by this sort of secular, quasi-religious ritual that struck me as mass mind control. And that's one of the things that struck me. The second thing that struck me was I had no idea how colossally talented Tony Robbins is. He is a force of nature. He is a bulldozer who gets into your business and he finds out all of your deepest baggage and he pulls it out and he makes you reconstruct your life. And I give him credit for that. He's really good at that. And I found myself saying, this guy is the Michael Jordan of motivational speakers. He has a rare gift. Oh, if I could only be as talented as he is, what would I do? I was also struck by how sincere he is. He really does want to alleviate suffering in other human beings. And he did a great job of making people cry and confront their demons. And he said, I'm addicted to helping people. And I found that very interesting. The third thing that I noticed is when you talk about sincerity, is that necessarily a good thing? Can sincerity make us go down a bad path? Isn't there a homily out there? Hell was paved with good intentions. And I wonder about that, because he seems to be preaching a prosperity gospel. You can have it all. You can have spiritual fulfillment. You can have romantic intimacy and money and power and confidence. And you can have passion. And it struck me that, you know, maybe that's too good to be true. You know, I grew up in a Judeo-Christian environment. You know, my dad's an Irish Catholic, and my mom is an Ashkenazi Jew whose parents are from Eastern Europe. And I grew up very skeptical of the notion that you can have it all, you know? You kind of have to, like, even though I'm agnostic, I wonder, I'm also skeptical and agnostic about this prosperity gospel that he has. Can you really have it all? Can you really serve two masters? I wish the movie would have addressed that question. And finally, this movie, I think the one thing that struck me more than anything is the people who attend this seminar are very successful. They have a baseline of success, obviously. They were able to fork out $5,000 and they're very motivated. You know what struck me? Is how desperately unhappy they all were. Man, what does that say? If the most successful people in society come and flock this motivational speaker with such intense misery. And that's what really struck me. I guess I always knew, the skeptical part of me always knew that people underneath are pretty unhappy. You know, they live lives of quiet desperation. But it really came out in this movie. And I got the sense that Tony Robbins really likes to help them, but he's also making $30 million a year. So it was a complicated symbiosis between Robbins and the audience, and for that reason I think it's worth that you watch it. It's not perfect, obviously, because it was directed by a Tony Robbins Kool-Aid drinker, but I'm going to be honest with you, I like Tony Robbins. That's the impression I have after seeing it. So I recommend that you see it, and until next time, I am out.